Back in October, I took delivery of what I thought was my dream car, a Model X Plaid. And don't get me wrong, it's an amazing Tesla, but ever since I got it, I can't stop thinking about two lingering questions. One of them is, does this car still make sense in Tesla's lineup in 2024? And also, did I make a big mistake by going with the Model X and not saving that money, or maybe spending a little bit more money and going with something else, even another Tesla? So after 9 months and several thousand miles, I want to give you an in-depth, honest look at the Model X from an owner's perspective who loves and hates many things about this car and drives it every single day. This was at one time Tesla's flagship vehicle, but it's not that way anymore. Is the Model X still worth it in 2024? And should you get it or go with something else? And also a huge thanks to PIA for sponsoring this video. Okay, so I've got a lot to break down in this video, but what I also want to do is not just give you my opinion, but give you some facts and give you the data. And I think the best thing I can do is start this video with some context by breaking down the financial aspect of this vehicle, because that really adds a real bit of important context to better evaluate this car. You can evaluate a $50,000 car on a whole different scale than you can a $100,000 car. So let me just show you the raw numbers of where I'm coming from here. Now, I actually got a little bit lucky here with my Model X because I bought at the dip, so to speak, because back in the fall, Tesla slashed prices like crazy on the Model X Long Range and Model X Plaid, bringing them down to, I think, their lowest MSRP price ever. I mean, Tesla has done so many adjustments with the Model X over the years, but I think that generally speaking, this car is $50,000 less, maybe even more than its all-time high. So given that these cars were going sort of well over the six-figure mark, back in the fall when I got mine, the prices, while still expensive, seemed like a pretty good deal, comparatively speaking. When I placed my order last fall, the Model X Long Range was going for $79,990 and the Model X Plaid was going for $89,990. So a $10,000 difference between these vehicles. And in addition to the pretty big price cut, Tesla also had a number of other incentives in place that I was able to take advantage of. One was a sort of loyalty or referral bonus. They ended the referral program as of filming, but back then you could get up to $1,000 off a qualifying Tesla. It was $500 off for me for my Model X, so I gladly took that. And back when I ordered, every single color option was free or included in the price. So I got to go with what normally would have been a $2,500 extra special fee to get the ultra red color. I love the ultra red, so happy I got it. And for me, it cost me no additional money. And I'll talk a little later on in this video on why I went with the Plaid version and whether that was a mistake or not, but my sort of out-the-door price here from Tesla back in the fall was $92,130 for this vehicle, and here's a breakdown on screen so you can see how that number sort of all adds up. That's going to include a $1,000 sort of additional option purchase of the yoke steering wheel over the regular round steering wheel, plus there's the destination fee, there's the order fee, and that's where that price comes down to. Not at all inexpensive, but that's just sort of how Tesla did their pricing at the time. And again, definitely not at all inexpensive, but compared to the same configuration of that vehicle today, it actually seems like a pretty good deal. If you were to jump onto the Tesla website and spec out the exact same vehicle, ultra red, smaller wheels, Plaid offering obviously, and the yoke steering wheel and black interior, you're looking at a price tag right here of $98,130. So compared to what the price is today, I actually think I got a pretty good deal on that brand new Tesla. Okay, so with all that said, let's get into what it's like to own and drive a Model X. I'm not gonna go over boring spec sheets. I'm sure you've read that and done your own research, but like I said, I just wanna tell you what it's like to actually live with this vehicle, so let's talk about it. Okay, so first things first on the outside. In terms of the look of the car, you either love it or you hate it. It's basically Tesla's minivan equivalent. Obviously, we'll get into the utility of the Falcon Wing doors, but they've got a very unique look that some people like, some people don't. Now, because of when I ordered my car, I did not have to pay for the ultra red paint, and I have to say, I am very happy about that, but even if I had to go back and do things again, I might just have to do it because I do think the Ultra Red looks really, really good. Another thing I really do appreciate about Model X here is the very large, spacious interior. I am one that loves to sort of work on the go. I love that I can pull my laptop out of my bag and work from anywhere and not feel like super claustrophobic inside of the vehicle. And also, I think we all sort of relate to the feeling that when you're on the go, on your laptop working, you're looking for that free Wi-Fi, things can be a bit sketchy. You really leave yourself vulnerable. That's why I always secure my connection with private internet access. It is my go-to VPN to keep my connection safe, secure, and private anytime and anywhere. PIA is my go-to VPN of choice. And if you don't know what a VPN is, think of it like a secure tunnel for your internet connection so no one can snoop or spy on what you're doing. If you're sort of connecting to that Wi-Fi network, anyone can sort of be able to see what you're up to, and it's almost like sending a private message where you think you're going from one person to the other, but you're really sending that message to like a group chat, and you don't want that. Nobody wants that. Luckily, PIA makes it super easy to secure your connection anytime. You can do it literally with just a couple of clicks on your computer, a couple of taps on your phone screen, and it's gonna work on all your devices: iPhone, iPad, Windows, Mac. PIA, no matter what device you've got, has got you covered. And best of all is that you can secure an unlimited amount of devices, all with one single subscription. And because PIA has servers all over the world, this is not only a great way to sort of secure your connection anywhere you go, but also a great way to easily unlock region-locked content. For example, I'm sure we all know that Netflix has their own catalog of movies and shows depending on where you are in the world, and with PIA, I can simply, with like 3 clicks, switch my location and then access content I wouldn't otherwise be able to. Like The Wedding Ringer is available if I'm in the UK. I'm telling you folks, there has never been an easier way to do this. There's never been a more important time to do this than right now, so what are you waiting for? PIA makes it super simple. Get started today with a couple of simple clicks. You can hit the link down below or head to piavpn.com/Robert Rosenfeld. And if you go through my special link, you're going to get an 83% discount, basically making this like $2.03 a month, plus 4 extra months for free. An amazing deal. So again, learn more, take advantage of those amazing savings, and get your connection on all your devices secure right now by hitting that link down below, or again, piavpn.com/Robert Rosenfeld. Now, you can watch plenty of videos on YouTube that show you all the ins and outs of Model X, but as an owner, let me just start getting into the things that I love and I hate. First thing I hate about this car is this. It's got a frunk. It's got a good amount of space in the frunk, but as you can tell, it's not a powered frunk. And for a car that's nearly $100,000, to have a frunk that I've got to close like this, it's just dumb. Like, this car should have a powered frunk. I don't understand why it doesn't. And while the additional amount of space is nice, it's super annoying for a car of this price tag. Now, the back of Model X is a little bit different. While there is plenty of cargo space back here, you also start to see some of the benefits of Tesla right here, which is new features. Because one of the newest features Tesla launched just a couple of weeks ago, maybe it's been a couple of months now, is automatic hands-free trunk opening on Model X and a couple of other newer Teslas, where essentially if I stand back here with my phone and the car beeps, it's going to automatically open the trunk for me, hands-free. Now again, not exclusive to Model X, that it certainly did not have when I picked the car up back in October, but now has thanks to the power of those over-the-air Tesla software updates. Now in terms of rear storage on Model X, I'm gonna give you a unfiltered look at what my Model X looks like on a random Sunday afternoon. I've got bags back here, I've got chairs, I've got all this junk back here in the trunk. I also do have access to a sub-frunk down here, as I totally messed up that partition, which actually, this is a good point. Remember that I mentioned evaluating this car by its price tag? Yeah, this thing right here, I'm not sure if I'm the only one who finds it super flimsy, but it's super flimsy. A nice amount of space back here. I've got a little bit of a pocket right here for stuff. I've got a pocket right here, and then I've got this space here that is honestly going to be pretty usable, and then is over the 2 chairs in the back that make this a 6-seat configuration. One of the big downsides to having this 6-seat configuration, wow, wait a second. The trunk just closed on me. That's a first. It heard I was going to criticize it. What I was saying is that one of the downsides with the 6-seat configuration here with these captain's chairs is that they don't lay flat. So I'll get into the benefits of those in a moment, but if you do want to do a lot of hauling, these will not lay flat. They'll go a little bit forward, but they're going to stay in their upright position. They don't go down like this. So if you do want to do a lot of hauling, go with the 5-seat configuration, go with the 7-seat configuration, because 6 seats, especially with Plaid being, that's the only option you can get, they don't go down. So if you're kind of limited to a little bit of what you can put in the back here because of the restrictions of those seats. But I'm sure, like many of you watching this video, one of the big draws for me and my family with going Model X is for the Falcon Wing doors, because the way they open is unique, it's different and special, and also makes it super easy for back passengers to get in the back of the vehicle. And more specifically, if you've got young kids that use a car seat, it's really easy to get them loaded in to Model X. Easier than any other car, really, because of the way the doors open and the flexibility that affords you. And while my 2-year-old daughter didn't want to cooperate for this video, you could imagine being able to pick a small child up, put them in their car seat, and have full versatility here to move around as needed. That's been one of the great things of Model X, is that flexibility. You either love or hate the Falcon Wing door design, not always perfect in some situations, but man, having this space to easily get in and out, really nice. Now, one of the other nice things about the captain's chairs is getting back into the 3rd row is easy. Because these are powered, I can simply hit this button and the seat is automatically going to move forward at a pretty good rate of speed. And that gives me plenty of room to have a passenger jump back in there to those last 2 remaining seats. As you can tell, if you've got small kids, I highly recommend you get a good set of all-weather mats, because maybe it's just me, but things like this are going to happen. And then, of course, because the seats are powered, they're going to go like that. I think really the only downside I see in the back of the vehicle is not having any sort of armrests here for these 2 captain's chairs. It's kind of a little bit of a missed opportunity, but you do have plenty of space back here. And while you do lose a little space in the rearmost part of the vehicle, I do really like all the space you get here. You've got that rear entertainment display, and yeah, having all this space in the back of the Model X has been really nice and definitely more comfortable for longer trips than what you get in a Model Y. But I will say, as helpful as software updates can be, sometimes they make things worse, particularly when it comes to, which one am I looking? The Falcon Wing doors back there. Let me show you what I mean and why I'm now in my garage. The Falcon Wing doors consistently used to work very well, and because Tesla's still using ultrasonic sensors with these doors, 99% of the time they're very accurate. I only had one time where I had a really close call in an airport parking lot with the car next to me and a lower ceiling that I felt uncomfortable and I had to manually stop the door from opening. Besides that, it's been fine. The bigger issue that I have now is that the door is almost too cautious. So I'm in my garage. I don't know how high these ceilings are, but they're fairly high. The only possible obstruction is the garage door opener right there and maybe the cable hanging down a little bit. But ever since I moved here, I've never had a problem opening the Falcon Wing doors until the last couple of months with the most recent round of updates that have made the doors unopenable in this garage. So what I'll show you here is that when I go to open, you know, obviously the front doors will work, but I have to wake the car up. To open this door, hear that beep? That is the Falcon Wing door saying, hey, I've got an obstruction. I'm not going to open because I don't want to hit anything. So maybe you think it's me. So I'm going to get totally out of the way here and press this. Still doing it. So again, same thing's happening here. This is extremely annoying for a couple of reasons. One of the big ones for me is that there's no easy way to force the door open from the outside without jumping into the app or getting into the car. Second issue is that when you've got a screaming 2-year-old trying to get in the car, it's really annoying when this doesn't work. And generally, what I have to end up doing is I can either reach around and grab the button back here and force it open. So I can show you, I kind of have to reach my hand back here, which you can't really see anything, but there's the Falcon Wing door open button. Let me see if I can reach back there, then hold it, and then it's going to slowly open. Or what I can do is simply just jump in here to the screen and do the same thing by tapping and holding right here. That's gonna do the other door over there, but you kind of get the idea. One of the other problems is that I understand the door is being cautious, but it goes so slow. So I'm gonna go all the way up. Okay, so now it's all the way up. And remember, these doors have ultrasonic sensors, so they know their surroundings. So the door's all the way up. I've got a couple of feet between the door and the garage door opener, no other obstructions, but the doors on either side will not open. That, for me, as much as software updates help the car, lately they've hurt, specifically with these doors in my garage, which drive me absolutely nuts. Hopefully this can be a simple software update fix. But yeah, if you have a Model X, let me know if you've been having the same issue, but these doors have been very unreliable in this garage for some weird reason lately. While the doors did have motors and while they were powered, the automatic opening and closing function didn't really work because, as you can see from this footage, the door only opened that much, which basically made the feature useless and you had to fight the motor on the door to open and close it. But recently, Tesla actually just pushed an update that sort of reverted back to the old way these cars worked. It still is missing ultrasonic sensors, but Tesla is now able to do this with the vision system and make the doors automatically open and close. And while it's not perfect, at least it's better than what it was, and let me show you how that works. So now what happens with this feature turned on is when I come up to the car, the driver's side door is automatically going to see me and open up. Sometimes, as you can see right there, that was not the most useful distance. I would have preferred something like that. It's a little hit or miss, but I'd say it's probably good 80% of the time. Let me try that again. So again, I'm gonna close the door, I'm gonna walk back over here and try it again. It does make me a little nervous because they don't have the ultrasonic sensors on them, and my wife said that when she was out one day, it did actually come close to hitting a car. But generally speaking, okay. Maybe it's not going to be very good. I actually showed off in a previous video, I'll put footage on screen where it actually worked pretty well. This feature obviously just came out, so it's a little bit buggy, and I'm not going to defend Tesla here. It needs some work. Though I will say one of the cool features though is I can walk away from Model X, and if you look back there at the driver's side door, it will close automatically. So maybe you want to be like a superhero or a villain or something and have a cool walkaway shot. That does work here too. But again, let me flip around and try one more time. It's a little finicky, and like I said, it's better than nothing. I'm glad Tesla's working on it. But okay, so it really doesn't want to go all that well. It's a work in progress. At least it's something better, but it's still not great. But I do like that I can put my foot on the brake here and the door closes. That is something that is a small thing that you do get used to, and it is nice. Let's talk for a minute about the yoke, and I apologize in advance for my very pasty white legs. I went with the yoke, paid an extra $1,000 for it because I like it for a couple of big reasons. One is that with the secondary display here, as I accidentally pressed the blinker there, with the regular round wheel, it just cut off the visibility of this way more than I would have liked. So I like the extra visibility. I feel like this car was really made in mind with the yoke. And also I like the look, I like the feel, I like the driving dynamics. I like a lot about this. I don't mind the stockless design at all. In fact, the automatic going into drive and reverse and the 3-point turn thing, that has worked out very well for me. I think it's auto shift, by the way, is that feature, has worked out well for me. I like the blinkers being able to be accessed just with my thumbs on the screen. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but is not too bad. Scroll wheels, all very similarly done in other Tesla vehicles. I like the yoke a lot, and for me, it was worth the extra $1,000. Really, what I don't like about the yoke are two things. One, as has been mentioned before, this not being a traditional horn was a very bad idea. That is why there is a brand new yoke that replaces the horn with the horn actually in the middle, and then this little horn icon with a camera icon that brings up the cameras on display. So there is a new yoke shipping now. So this is the older yoke, which Tesla has fixed. So I've got to give them credit. At least they fixed that. The bigger issue though is that these are touch sensitive buttons, which you would think are pretty good. And let me let you hear that haptic a little bit. It gives you a little haptic feedback and vibration. It's not horrible, but I will say after driving Cybertruck and even the new Model 3, I much prefer the physical clicky buttons than the touch-sensitive haptic buttons. They're easier to press, they're more reliable, and while it might seem like this is more premium and more just sort of higher class, I guess, it's really not. And the touch-sensitive buttons, while they might look cooler than having those buttons on the wheel, are not functionally better. But still, overall, I don't regret the yoke. I'm happy with the yoke. yoke. I like it like the way the car drives with the yoke, though I do think that having some physical buttons here would probably be a benefit. Okay, so let's talk for a minute about driving dynamics in the Model X. Now, obviously, Model X Plaid, even long-range Model X, acceleration is insane. 0 to 60 in the Model X Plaid in 2.5 seconds. But even when you're not like in launch mode and doing crazy things, the drive here is just very comfortable. It's that active, adaptive suspension really put to work, making bumps and potholes and other things you might run into not a very big problem. And the cabin itself is also quite quiet. I'll stop talking for a moment just so you can sort of hear the ambient sound here at about 50 miles an hour. Now, one of the things that I love and hate most about the Model X is this secondary screen right here. I do like that I have a speedometer here, that I can see my speed more in my line of sight. I don't have to shift my gaze over to the screen. I like the information you're able to get here, like battery percentage, outside weather, time, and stuff like that. But what I hate about this is that it's such a big missed opportunity because Tesla gives you no way to customize this instrument cluster display or whatever you want to call it, unlike previous generations. With those vehicles, you could go in and you could change what displayed on the secondary display. You could have media playback and stuff like that. On newer Model X's, you can't change anything that you see. If I was to go into drive, for example, and go, like this, I have my speedometer and stuff like that. And, here's kind of my view that I see. But that's kind of it. I've got a little bit of a speed symbol here. I can see sort of the action of if I'm drive, reverse, stuff like that. For some reason, I'm having a weird issue with park assist, which isn't loading. So normally I would see sort of my full self-driving visualizations here, but that's not working. And yeah, that's really all this screen is able to do. I would love to have better media playback controls. I'd love just to be able to see or customize rather what I see on this display would be way better. I like having that secondary display, but it's pretty useless in its current form because you can't really customize what's on there. With that said, though, I do appreciate what level of customization you get with the larger main display. This is actually a 17-inch display. It's bigger just a little bit than what you get in the Model 3 and Model Y, and what this gives you is a couple of unique advantages. I like that I'm able to sort of move the media window around. I could have this open, I can move it like this. It's a small thing, but it is sort of nice to have that control. And because I have the secondary display, even though sometimes it's kind of useless, it does free up this entire screen for maps or media playback and stuff like that. I do really like that. Another small feature that I really appreciate that even when I was driving Cybertruck I missed is that the display is able to tilt. It's like the dumbest thing, and you think it's like just totally useless that you could, I could tilt the screen towards the driver, towards the passenger. So this is the default. But I do have to say, both my wife and I really appreciate the small little detail that the screen is a little bit closer to you. It's a little bit more angled to you and does make what you view on the screen just a bit easier and just in general a little easier to access the screen. Love the bigger screen, love Tesla software, and that I've really liked here. This rain is providing a really good visual of this giant helicopter-esque windshield. This is a huge piece of glass. It is very, spacious, makes the Model X feel very airy. And while it's great, this leads to one of the most universally hated things about Model X, something both my wife and I agree with that we just can't stand, and that is the sun visors, because the sun visor in Model X is absolutely useless. Now, the mechanism is cool that you're able to get this giant windshield and you can see so much. Really, really cool. I mean, just, it goes like all the way up, like almost like that. Well, maybe like the first third of the car, which is crazy. But this mechanism here for the sun visor is just awful. Not only is it like the weird sort of Tesla origami thing where it folds in certain ways and it's just weird, but it's so small that it doesn't block the sun. Because when you are in a sunny situation, even with a little bit more of a better tint level up here, the sun's still blaring into you. And I find myself having to like do this maneuver to try to block the sun in like the dumbest way possible. These just, they're totally form, they're not function. Now, I talked just a moment ago about the yoke and why I went with it and the extra visibility, but just as I drive to sort of show you here, if you can see just a bit, it might be a little bit out of frame where my hands are, I like the yoke. I find it comfortable. I like, obviously, the extra visibility you get with that secondary display. I think it's nice. Turning is easy on it, as long as you're not trying to do a 3-point turn. But I will say, after using Cybertruck and steer-by-wire, and probably more specifically, the Squircle, as weird as the name may be, I think the size makes a lot more sense, and I would not be the least bit surprised to see a Model X refresh get the Squircle. Even if we don't get steer-by-wire, I think that as cool as the yoke is visually, sometimes practically it's not the best, and it is a very wide object, and it can sometimes be a little tough to make hand-over-hand turns. But with that said, I don't regret going with the yoke over the regular round steering wheel. I like it a lot. I think it adds a little bit of, I don't know, a dynamic feeling to the car, makes it feel a little bit more, sporty, almost like you're sort of piloting a plane with this helicopter-like huge windshield. So that has not been a knock on me. I know some people don't like it, but I do happen to find that I think it drives well and controls the car well, but we'll say it would definitely benefit, I think, Model X by steer-by-wire, but I'll come back to that more in a little bit. Now, despite its quirks, for the longest time, the Model X was a unique offering in Tesla's lineup. If you wanted to haul a lot of people and you wanted performance and you wanted to go Tesla, there was really only one option. That was until recently, when things changed and Tesla launched the Cybertruck. Now, the Model X is an SUV, Cybertruck is a truck, but honestly, I think there's a huge crossover between these two vehicles, and the Cybertruck actually fixes so many of the issues that I have with the Model X. For example, want to see something revolutionary? Wow, a powered frunk. Why this is so complicated and why this is the only Tesla that has one is beyond me. And I can do it right from the app. And it closes. I understand for the Model 3 and Model Y, but Model X, $100,000, a powered frunk is like a no-brainer. It should definitely be there. And look, I get it. Cybertruck and Model X really isn't an apples-to-apples comparison, though I will say Cybertruck does have a lot of features that Model X is lacking and does make it feel a bit more modern in 2024. For example, while the interior definitely is a little bit more rugged looking and more industrial, you can't see it during the day, but it does have RGB ambient lighting that extends all the way throughout the front and back of the vehicle, which is really nice, and again, is one of that new Tesla design aesthetics that is nice and does make the car feel a bit more premium. As I mentioned, one of my issues with the yoke is the touch-sensitive buttons on the yoke that Tesla realized probably wasn't the best move. Now they've gone to actual clicky buttons here on the new Model 3 and Cybertruck, which maybe while it might look and feel a little less premium, I think function here is way more important than form, and it does work out way, way better. Obviously, one of the other big things here is you've got the Squircle, which I think is a very comfortable compromise between a regular round steering wheel and the yoke, and also steer-by-wire, which I'll have a whole video going in-depth more on Cybertruck coming up soon, so subscribe if you want to stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, my TLDR is, it's amazing. It's just as good as all of the videos and reports have said it is. Very comfortable to drive in. Feels more like I'm driving a Model X or even a Model Y in Cybertruck than I am driving some huge 7,000-pound truck. So that is really cool and something I really do appreciate inside of Cybertruck. Another thing that Cybertruck has that Model X desperately, and I mean desperately needs, is a front front-facing camera. Obviously, Cybertruck is going to give you views of the rear and the left and right side like you'd get on Model Y, but having access to this front bumper camera is essential with a car this big, and Model X is also not a small car, so having access there to a front bumper camera is a much needed addition that the X desperately needs, that Cybertruck has, and again, I think Tesla realized that was an issue, and they fixed it like they're fixing many things in Cybertruck. And while Model X is an SUV and Cybertruck is a truck, I do think there is a crossover between those who are looking for a tech-filled car, they want the latest and greatest from Tesla, and they want to be able to haul their family around and all their family stuff. So if you want to fit 5 people inside the Cybertruck, you can do that super comfortably. And then instead of just like a back, storage compartment, you've got an actual truck bed with a super strong tonneau cover and the ability to open this up and store a lot of stuff. I'm not even a truck person, but I've got to say that this setup here with Cybertruck is just super, super cool. You've got the outlet built in here, including a 240 volt outlet. You've got the bed ambient LED lighting back here, and just a ton of space. And for me, I think I'd rather sacrifice a little bit of the Falcon Wing doors and have access here to a full-on truck bed and some more technology. Though I should mention, Cybertruck, like Model X, has weird doors, but these doors actually do open a full 90 degrees. So not gonna be the same as Model X, but hey, it's still something, though. It's bench back here, no captain's chairs, if you're curious. So now, after reflecting on everything, the pros, the cons, the quirks and features of the Model X, the one thing I can't stop thinking about as a Model X owner is what the future of this vehicle is and where it is on Tesla's priority scale. Obviously, Model Y is the world's best-selling car, and Tesla is going to do everything they can to make sure the Model Y stays that way and as competitive as possible. Model 3 just got a huge refresh and is amazing. Model S and Model X for years were sort of the halo cars. These were Tesla's higher-end vehicles that got more of a premium experience. Yeah, they were more expensive, but they had some exclusive features, which I don't necessarily think is the case anymore. And now, the more I think about it, as ridiculous as it may sound to some, it really seems like Cybertruck is becoming Tesla's new halo product, their new premium offering, and Model S and Model X are quickly being left behind. Now, obviously, I think there's a better place for a Model S in the Tesla lineup and how to justify that. It's the sporty sedan, it's super fast, the fastest Tesla that they make, but the Model X is a bit tougher to justify. The Cybertruck is a super versatile vehicle, as you just saw. It fixes so many of the issues with Model X, and I feel like Tesla is sort of at a crossroads where we could see a couple of things happen. What I hope we see happen is that Tesla learns from the feedback of Cybertruck and the new Model 3 and other things, and they bring those features to a Model X refresh. That we get the Plaid seats that are in Model S and Model 3. We get the RGB ambient lighting. We get the front bumper camera. We get a host of other improvements and features, steer-by-wire, even the Squircle, I gotta say. That would be very nice to see, and I think that if Tesla can do that, they sort of reaffirm their commitment, in a sense, to the Model X and the future of this vehicle. So I am just very curious to see where the Model X goes from here. I think it's a great car. I love the Model X. I love what it has. But now I will say, seeing what Cybertruck has to offer, I think for me, I'd be willing to make some concessions in terms of Falcon Wing doors and 6-seat configurations and second screens to get some of the improvements and enhancements. A Model X refresh would be killer, and that might be the perfect situation here. But in the meantime, I do see a lot of reasons to go Cybertruck over Model X, and a big part of me, really wishes I didn't get this car. I waited for Cybertruck and enjoyed the versatility and the newness and the tech that that has to offer. So those are my thoughts, and now I want to give the sort of microphone, the virtual microphone, over to you guys. Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on Model X. I think what I love to see is owners who have a Model Y looking at the Model X and sort of making those evaluations, because there is a case to be made and also a greater case to be made probably why you should make that upgrade. So let me know your thoughts down below. And if you've got a Model X, what are your thoughts on it? Do you own what year model do you have? Do you like it? Do you not? Drop a comment down below and let me know. I think for me, sort of evaluating this, like I said, I think I should have waited for the Cybertruck and gone that route, just for a car that would better sort of meet my needs, but I do like the Model X. But I'm curious, if you've got a Model X, you're looking at a Model X, drop a question or comment down below. Also, if you stayed at the very end of the video and you want a chance to win some free Amazon money, let's go ahead and do this. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment down below letting me know you stayed to the very end of the video and your thoughts on Model X, and I'll pick a couple people and do some free Amazon gift card giveaways too. Also, please be sure to respond because I'm messaging people back on YouTube and no one's ever commenting back, so just make sure you keep an eye on your YouTube account. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.